So, hi everyone, my name is Johnny. I'm co-founder and CEO of Flow Security. I'm very excited to be here. Flow Security is a data security platform. Can you hear me well? Yes. Data security platform. And today I'm going to talk about a topic that is relevant to probably the entire room, right? Data security. I'm going to talk about how do I see data security today, what are the current challenges, why those are so difficult, and also I will show a new approach in order to solve those issues. Before I start, a few words about myself. I've been doing cybersecurity in the last 15 years or so. I started as an offensive cybersecurity practitioner. After that, I kind of crossed the fence and I did incident response. I led investigations of data breaches of Fortune 500 companies. And this is where I've seen the big challenge of data security, which led me to start Flow. So let's start with, let's take this potential environment, right? It can be an environment of a company that we want to protect the data that stores sensitive data, probably customers' information, PII, PHI, maybe PCI. So what do we see here? A few databases, right? Applications consuming the data, users accessing that data, and we want to protect data in that environment. Sounds simple, right? Probably we have only to defend where data is being stored. The problem is that absolutely no environment look like that. Modern environment look much more like that, right? Multi-cloud, on-premise, data is being shared, well, everywhere probably. Many of the data is actually not even in the environment, is external to the environment, right? Is in SaaS providers, which makes that problem much, much more difficult. So what has to be done? Let's start from there, right? If you are a data security practitioner, you are in charge to protect the data. Usually, it takes 3 different steps, right? The first step is doing data scanning and data cataloging. Or in other words, making sure that the data that you have is the data that you think you have. Where do we store social security numbers? Where do we store healthcare-related information? And so on. The second step is risk management, both for security and for compliance. Making sure that the data is not at risk, making sure that we comply with privacy regulations, and so on. And lastly, incident response, right? If data is being breached, the ability to detect it and respond in a timely manner. However, this is extremely difficult for all companies, right? And let's try to understand why. There's one characteristic about data that makes it very unique, and that is data liquidity. What does that mean? That means that data can very easily being transferred from one place to another, right? Just like liquid, like water, it can be very easily leaked, and it can be very easily causing a lot of damage. Not only that, just like liquid, it's very easy to take data and change its form, change its shape while transferring it. That makes it very different. So if we look at other, and I hope you can read there, other verticals in cybersecurity, it's pretty clear what you have to do because it's very siloed. If we're protecting cloud, like cloud security, it's pretty clear what we're protecting, right? And if we're protecting SaaS, we have SaaS security. But data is different just because of its liquidity. Because data is in all of those places, which makes data security not a vertical, but actually a horizontal problem, in a way. Because you don't even know what you have to protect. Not only that, if you're looking at data in one place, you might miss data in another place. And that's kind of interesting because it's the same data, right? If you're in charge of protecting the PII, it matters wherever that is. So, in that aspect, my big message here today is that data has to be tackled differently. If you are going to tackle the same way that you are tackling other verticals, one database at a time, one SaaS provider at a time, you'll be chasing ghosts. So I want to suggest a new approach for data security. And that is the data flow first approach. Unlike other verticals in which we are focusing on the infrastructure or the environment, Here, in data, due to that liquidity, we have to start from that data flow analysis to follow the path of data, where it starts from, how it's being reshaped, how it's being shared, until it's being also shared externally outside of the environment. Why is that so important? For two reasons. One is this way we can tackle that ghost chasing of every time looking for one more database, one more application, one more SaaS provider. No, if we follow the data, we can follow the data wherever it flows. And that is super important for coverage. But secondly, we can also understand the context, because that data, that social security number that you are classifying, this is a customer's social security number, right? This is someone that there is a face behind it. There is a business context that is related to it. Therefore, if you understand the full journey of the data, you understand not only what data you're seeing, but also how it can affect your business and how to secure it wisely. So if you're looking back on that life cycle, my opinion is that it starts from the wrong place. There's one missing piece here. Right before data scanning, you should start with data flow mapping and analysis. Based on what you see there, you can do the scanning, you know what you have, you understand your business, and then you can continue with the compliance and security management, finding risks, and also tackling data breaches when that happens. So what are the main takeaways that I suggest taking here? First of all, it is important to define your data security scope. When building a strategy for your organization, start with what do I care about in data, because data is so wide. Maybe it's only the scopes of a few SaaS providers, so you focus only there, right? Maybe it's around the cloud, then focus there. And if it is wider than that, then take an approach that takes that under consideration. And one last thing, this is, I would say, an exercise that I suggest for you doing, is that when you build a strategy for data security, and when you choose the vendors, and when you build a full platform internally for protecting the data, do this hypothetical exercise. Imagine that in that scope that you defined before, there is a new data creation, right? Let's say that an engineer is creating a new database, or data is being shared to a new external service, right? Do the tools that you have today and do the strategy that you have today will help you detect that automatically. Because if not, you're doing something wrong. Thank you very much, and I'm here to take any questions in case there are any of them. Thank you.